Morning viewers, this is AM Chart. Welcome to another wonderful edition. And you know, on Tuesday morning like this, we usually talk business, we usually talk about health, entrepreneurship, and we usually just look into areas, sectors of the Nigerian polity that we can do something to improve. Last week we talked about the environment, we talked about waste management in our environment, in our homes. Today is particularly special because all over the world we are celebrating World Pharmacists Day. And you may be wondering, a lot of people would say, I've never heard World Pharmacists Day. How did that come about? But every 25th of September, every year, the pharmacists come together all over the world and they celebrate what we call World Pharmacists Day. And my guest was just telling me that the medicine specialist, your pharmacist is something, what specialist? Is going to tell us that shortly when I introduce them. So today we're going to be looking at the health sector. We're going to be looking at habits, healthy habits that you need to cultivate to actually live a better life, to actually have better well-being. I'm also going to be looking at healthy habits that you need to do, or other habits rather, that you need to do away with as much as possible. You need to do away with them such that you end up living better, living longer, and then enjoying yourself. My name is Tomisin, and I'm the host for today's show. I have with me in the studio two powerful, as I usually say, two powerful resource persons. On my right, I have pharmacist Lolo Ojo. He's the pharmacy in the studio this morning, and he's going to be talking to us briefly about the World Pharmacist Day. And I have on my right, Engineer Mujukwe Ajibola. Let me start with pharmacist Lolo. You're welcome to today's show.
Thank you very much, Tomisin.
And Engineer Ajibola.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. The pleasure is all mine. I've been interacting with them way before we came on air, and I'm sure they have a whole lot to tell you this morning. We're starting with the pharmacist Lulujo. Let's talk about the World Pharmacist Day. What's this all about?
Thanks, Tomisin. Like you have rightly said in your introduction, the World Pharmacist Day is a day that has been set aside all over the world for us to draw attention to the role of pharmacists in healthcare, what pharmacists can do to make your life better, to provide remedy to life, for health promotion, and for you to know that you have a group of highly trained, highly resourced people that you can consult, that you can talk to, especially when it concerns your health, the medicine that you take, the need to seek attention, and all sorts of things that you will need to remain healthy.
That's quite interesting. So there is no way you can actually have the medical profession without the pharmaceutical profession. Can you do away with one?
No, it has to be together. And let's look at it this way. Some time ago, the Director General of the World Health Organization, I think Dr. Nakajima, said, without drug, the healthcare delivery system has no substance and no credibility, which means it's the drug or medicine that gives substance and credibility to
the
healthcare. And look at it like this: no matter how smart or how knowledgeable the pharmacist is, no matter how smart or how knowledgeable the doctor is or any other person, what transfer that knowledge into a tangible benefit to the patient is the medicine that it takes. So after all the examinations, after all the laboratory tests, after all this and that, at the end of the day, the prescription is given.
It's given, and you have to go to the pharmacist.
Go see the pharmacist, and you take the drug. It is the drug that you take that eventually make you good,
better.
Make you better. If there is any issue, you still come back. So
it's like a chain. It's like a chain.
It is. That's why I say it's a teamwork. It's unfortunate that we have the kind of thing that we have in our environment, but the truth of the matter that it is a teamwork. For instance, we are sitting here. Some people are minding the camera. If their camera is good, but we don't have people to talk, what is it?
It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. I'm speaking now to Engineer Ajibola. I was just wondering while I was speaking, if we have this healthcare sector where we have the pharmacists that come up with the prescription and who actually has the drugs.
The drugs are made by companies that actually go into R&D to develop drugs. They actually work in the private sector in most cases. And they're actually funded by some government infrastructure or some private sector. The benefit for most citizens of global economy is that if the government in some countries invest in the drugs, then they can somewhat control the cost of those medicines when it comes to the population. In other places, you're just subject to the cost of the drug, and you just have to pay what the premium is. But there's so many things involved in making a drug that takes many years, I'm sure, to research, to develop, and then to get approved for that matter. So it's a very costly process. But the issue, if there's any issue with drugs, it's the cost of drugs. Right? And
that's the cost to the consumer.
To the consumer. Okay. Yeah, and I think pharmaceuticals have been working years now to bring down the cost, to enable their customers to afford it. I think for us, that investors in this space, we just try to make sure that all the users out there that need specific type of medications are able to afford it, and if they can't, how do we subsidize them? How do we enable them to be able to afford it? So I mean, I'm not sure if I answered your question, but I do think that
I think you did, because we're looking at the private sector providing the drugs, manufacturing the drugs, doing the research, doing the approvals.
Exactly.
But now it still comes back to the consumer, and then we now begin to talk about how can they get to afford it. Now, pharmacists, there are some drugs. I came across a particular drug a couple of years ago, regular antibiotics. Prescribed in a public hospital. Now, this is not a private hospital. In a public hospital, 6,000 naira per vial, 6,000 naira per milligram, or 1 mg or thereabouts. And this patient had to take, I think, 3 every day in 6 hours. So in 6 hours, we buy 3, which is about 18,000, and that is just one drug of about 15. That's the patient is being given. That's about one drug of 15. Now, there were people in that hospital on that bed, in that same emergency. This was even intensive care unit, who couldn't afford the drugs. They were in intensive care unit in public hospital, but they couldn't afford the drugs that were being prescribed for them. Now, the pharmacist downstairs wouldn't give the drugs unless he exchanges hands, unless you bring a receipt saying, I've paid for the drug, and then you're given the drug. Are there substitutes to these expensive drugs? Are there substitutes that's still as effective? Because if you're going to take an antibiotic, so I don't want to mention any because I'll be advertising for that anyway. But if you're going to take a drug of, say, 6,000 naira, are there substitutes that can do the same thing but for cheaper prices?
Yeah, thank you very much. First, I want to agree with Engineer Abiola that private sector-driven process seems to be much better. But talking about cost, we have to look at it holistically. First, drug cost is just a part of the total healthcare cost. For instance, somebody who needs to be hospitalized, the bed cost, and the auxiliary cost, and all sorts. Going specifically to the antibiotic that you mentioned, the truth of the matter is this drug exists in different categories, different potency.
Okay.
Yes, different potency. For instance, before now, the drug that we used to treat malaria was chloroquine.
Yes, and then 1 year we just stop taking
for tablet start, then
you take two
okay. But a time came. There was camoquine, there was resistance to this drug, and we now have new ones. I was marketing manager for this product for a long time.
So part of the problem.
I know them so much when I was working for Roche Nigeria Limited. So what I'm saying is that you have different categories, and the need are sometimes different. I tell you about a particular product called Sept. You know, it's so good for meningitis, infection, so that because it has this ability to diffuse into the brain, you know, where the problem really is. There are some other products that are being used we do not have that kind of ability. Not only does it get into that very highly restricted, there's something we call blood-brain barrier, which is usually not easy to cross. But this drug is able to cross it. And once it crosses, it doesn't, anything that crosses into the brain is actively pumped back. But this one, when it goes in there, it doesn't get to be removed almost easily. And that is why, if I start talking about those characteristics of those drugs, you will now see why one is different from now, why is it so expensive? That is where we have
and why do doctors prescribe these very expensive drugs?
No. See, let me say it here, because doctor is not seated with us.
Yes, definitely.
But the truth of the matter is, when he's faced with a particular case, what is uppermost is in his mind is to save the life of that patient. So if he looks at the options before him, then he can say, hey, this is the drug to go. Now when it gets to the pharmacist, and the pharmacist interact with the patient to know that the problem is cost, it's possible that he can discuss with the doctor. Listen, we have this alternative that can do this, that can do the same thing.
Okay.
This is the
so that's where the synergy, comes in.
Not of it. But please, before I stop this, you have to ask yourself, why are those drugs so expensive here? Yeah. Hey, before now, a dollar is 120 naira. Me and you know today, dollar is 360 if you're lucky to get it.
I think 350.
Oh, maybe I'll see you after this.
I don't have to do the change.
So the point I'm making is that something that used to cost 3 naira before, because of our economy, will now cost 9 naira. So these are the things that government really need to look at. When you are sick, the next available thing for you to do is to find remedy. And when those remedy are there, you cannot afford it,
then it's as good as the person is gone. I understand. Okay, so pharmacists, we're talking about funding. Yeah. If the government is going to do anything in the healthcare sector, it should be to provide funding, especially to subsidize the cost of these drugs, because we've established that these drugs, some of them are actually so expensive. In fact, they are basically expensive from a layman's point of view because they're produced by private organizations. So you can't go to ask them and say, how much is your cost before you put the price here. They are in business to make profits. They're not in business to just provide care for people. They're there to make profits. So they're free to set the prices for whatever it is. Now, if government doesn't provide this kind of funding, what is the hope of the patient?
Yeah, so there's a lot of issues surrounding healthcare. If you look around the world, in fact, this weekend, Narendra Modi just put out a new program that's supposed to provide 500, million people in free healthcare in India. It's just this weekend. It's a game changer, pretty much going to be costing the thing $7,800 per head a year for him to provide this program that actually provides free healthcare for everybody, right? Several countries have dealt with their own version of issues of what should government do as far as healthcare is concerned. But it is a major cost burden on government. It could become one. But without a healthy nation, you have nothing, right? So health is the wealth of a nation. Government should invest in it, but government should invest in it through private sectors. Not through government throwing money at a problem they don't know, because government is not good at spending when it comes to spreading solution. They're more good at investing